Hello and welcome to River Reflections. I'm your host, Rihanna Munir.
And my name is Chase Desjardins. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about academic appreciation and validation. So let's dive in.
So what is academic appreciation, you may be wondering?
Well, it's actually pretty simple. It's just appreciating your peers for their academic efforts.
And academic validation is basing your grades or basically anything that has to do with academics on your self-worth and your self-image.
All right, so let's go into our first guest, Xenia.
In today's episode, we are joined by the wonderful Xenia. Welcome to River Reflections.
Hey guys, I'm Xenia Qureshi. I'm a freshman and I happen to be at the leadership program.
Awesome. So let's get started with our first question. So, do you feel as if you are appreciated enough for your academic contributions, Xenia?
I think that I think that academic validation or contribution shouldn't really be based on your grades. I think it should be more so based on growth and exploration and how much you're putting effort, how much effort you're putting towards. Bad grades shouldn't really define anything about how you're doing in your classes. I think that it should be more so, is she putting effort in or is he putting effort in? I think that matters a little bit more than your grades. But yes, I think that the effort I'm putting in is being, recognized.
Thank you so much for your answer. For our next question, we have, what are your opinions or thoughts on academic validation, and do you think that plays a role in appreciation, but for yourself?
I think that, again, your grades shouldn't define you. I think that you should have a opinion about yourself that doesn't just have to do with your grades, but definitely try. I'm not saying don't put effort into your grades. Definitely try, study hard. But, even sometimes when you study hard, you don't get the results you want, and that's totally fine. I think that it's just about you learned a topic. If you showed interest and genuine understanding, I think that's all that matters. And yeah.
Pretty much. I feel like not basing yourself on that is kind of like what it's all about. You're not doing it just for the grade, you're doing it to learn. And school isn't just about, doing the work. It's about actually getting your education and learning.
But it makes you feel so bad when you know something and then you get a bad
Mhm.
grade and it's I knew it, but why did I get a bad grade
Right.
on this?
And you look back at the questions, you're like, wait, I knew that.
Well, thank you for your response. And for our last question, how do you think that students should be appreciated for their academic contributions?
I think that they should mostly be appreciated on the growth that they're showing, the effort that they're putting in. Because again, I don't think a single number should be defining anything. There's bad days, there's good days, there's understanding, there's need of understanding, and I think that growth and effort should be appreciated more than your grade. And I definitely think that I think teachers do a good job of that mostly, but if something isn't understood, it is what it is.
I love the way that you're saying growth plays a large role in this, because it really does.
Right.
Students grow more and more every day, especially learning things. I feel like that's part of the experience. It's growth.
Right, and especially as a freshman, I think it's important to figure out, especially in high school, what works for you. I guess in middle school, I was in the CBG program, but for a lot of people, middle school, there wasn't much work to do. It was just kind of a kind of chill period of your life. But I think that in high school, it's your time to realize what study habits are good for you, what techniques you need, and all that, and what truly does work for you and gets you to the point you need to be. And I think that as a freshman, sophomore, you're trying to figure those things out. So I think that you need time.
Yeah, and it can definitely be hard from the transition from middle school to high school. Just
Right.
Getting acclimated. It's just a really hard process, and some people do it better than others.
Definitely, yeah.
And it just takes time to know what works best for you. And so I agree with you that we should be basing it off of growth and not how you're doing in the moment.
Right, I agree.
As time goes by, you really do learn what works for you and what doesn't
Right.
work for you. I feel like it's kind of changed for me every single year.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's all about just knowing the difference between, okay, this is what someone's giving me and what they're telling me to do, and this is what's actually working for me. Putting
Right.
yourself first and knowing, okay, I need to do what's best for me.
Right.
That's the best thing that you can do.
Right. And I think especially in classes where AP classes where notes are heavy and research and stuff like that, I think in those classes you really have to figure out what works for you. Some people like to do their notes online, some people like to do their notes on paper, some people like to color code. I think really whatever works for you, I think you should try everything and figure out what truly does work for you.
Thank you so much for joining us today on this episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
Any final remarks?
Just don't let your grades define you. A grade is just a number.
All right.
True that.
Thank you very much. And
Thank
on to
you.
our next guest.
Next, we're joined by our guest, Brendan. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Anything you want the audience to know about you before we start?
I'm Brendan. I'm a senior here at James River. I run track, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
For our first question, we have, do you feel as though you are appreciated enough for your academic contributions?
I feel pretty appreciated by myself. Sometimes when it comes to teachers, quite a few of my teachers I do feel appreciated, but I don't think all of them. But yeah, there's a lot of self appreciation, I feel like.
Yeah. I feel like that's most important, just appreciating yourself and knowing that you're putting the work in. You obviously see it and you feel it, so yeah.
Thank you for your answer. Moving on to our next question. What are your opinions or thoughts on academic validation, and do you think that it plays a role in appreciation for yourself?
I feel for like a lot of people, academic validation is like extremely important. For me, I feel like I know I'm more than just my grades, and I feel like my grades don't define me as a person and who I am. But I mean, I do still strive for good grades, of course, but I'm not going to let them define me in any type of way.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you can't let your grades define yourself because you have other things that make you who you are and things that make you great. And you can't just look at your grades all the time because you're going to base your whole self off of your grades when in reality, you have so many other things that you could be good at other than grades. Some people
Exactly.
just aren't, school isn't their thing, you know? That's perfectly fine.
Exactly.
I feel like sometimes personally, I feel like I can't control it sometimes. It's like you set that standard for yourself where it's like, okay, I have to reach this, and then you don't reach it, and then you're a little bummed out. But I feel like bouncing back and like knowing that, okay, I can do better.
Yeah.
So that always helps.
As long as you know that you gave it your all, I feel like that's important. Just knowing that you gave it your all.
Thank you for your answer. For our final question, we have, how do you think students should be appreciated for their academic contributions?
It's a great question. I mean, I feel like, with our school doing like the breakfast thing, I feel like that's kind of cool. I think more students need to like just work on like their self appreciation.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Really great points today. Thank you.
Any final remarks before you leave?
I feel like everybody just believe in yourself. Always believe in yourself.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. This was really about just self-growth as well as self-appreciation.
Yeah, and I can't believe that we're already so far into the school year. I mean, it feels like it's going by so fast, and the work is starting to get a lot harder.
I feel like that's why we should really appreciate each other because, we're all going through some hard times right now. We all have a lot of stuff going on, and we really just want to focus on appreciating each other. For our solution, we decided to come up with a Google form where you can basically shout out or nominate your friend for their academic efforts and just kind of appreciate them. All you put is their first and last name, their fourth even, and we'll deliver them a sweet treat. And if you want to leave along a little note, then feel free to, and we'll share it with them.
Yeah, and the link is going to be in our Instagram bio on our linked tree. So if you want to fill that out and appreciate someone that you know, then go right ahead.
Just let your friend know that they're doing the best they can and that you appreciate them.
And hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier for us to get through the school day. Well, that's it for today's episode. Make sure to subscribe if you appreciated our episode.
Thank you so much for watching, and remember,
Keep reflecting, Rapids! My suitcase.